mate, and welcome to Friday Facts number 382, Logistical Groups with, I have my good logistical friend with me. How you doing, Mojo?
Hello.
How you doing? So today we're covering logistics groups, which has a couple of changes.
It does. And some more clarifications from last week.
A whole lot of
pretty little
clarifications.
animation.
Yes, the space platform clarifications. Without construction bots, how do things magically appear on the platform? Well, the platform builds itself.
It's a self-expanding factory.
But we still haven't taught
Yeah.
Factorio to play itself, but we're getting there, bit by bit. We just had to go to space to get the technology to have the game play itself, partially. Yeah. I'm wondering how this is going to look when you mass pace down platforms.
It just goes down a whole lot of, just the whole thing just expands.
Yeah, like this is definitely done in a controlled environment to make it look pretty, and it looks pretty, don't get me wrong, it looks great. But, yeah, also, so Factorio has all the little doodads on the surface. I'm wondering, the previous Friday Facts, they went and all rearranged themselves when they ghosted down stuff. I'm wondering if that bit of pipe that's right there that's really bugging you because it's lining up with one of your inserters or whatever, whether you can remove those, move those, get rid of those, or whether it's just stuck there permanently. Yep, things for the future. All right, on to the next thing. So we have something similar for entities too. So things won't magically appear. It will be as though the platform is building them by itself. So it means that my Neobuddiest Factorios little scorpions are not going to be coming out of the hub, and they're not going to be building things, which I'm very disappointed about. I'm pretty sure that a hole in the platform is just going to open up, and the assembler is going to pop up from underneath, and the ground will close, and that'll be the end of that.
There's still hope that as I keep saying, the space platform is hollow and it's just swarming with them inside.
No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The next thing I can hope for, okay, is there's going to be enemy on one of the planets. Okay, that works for me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to leave people with the image of a hollow space platform that's just swarming with insects.
With insects?
It's just the image, exactly the image that you want.
Okay. If Blue Science leads to rockets, do we get advanced, do we get advanced stuff like low density structures and rocket control units earlier, or are rockets different? Low density structures is Blue Science. Rocket control units
actually pretty straightforward.
Were just yanked from the game. Yanked from this area of the game, and instead we're going to use processing units to launch stuff into space. Yep. On top of that, they lowered the cost of rocket 20 times, which means rather than needing 1,000 rocket pieces to make 100 rocket parts to make one rocket, you need 50 rocket pieces to make, 50 to make possibly 100 rocket parts, 50 rocket parts to make one rocket.
Something's rocket parts?
You'll need
rocket parts?
50 rather than 1,000. That's the bottom line.
Pocket rocket parts?
Yeah, pocket rockets. Yes. So this is to lower the focus on rockets, because you have to produce rockets on every planet eventually, and send quite a lot of rockets to build your platforms and to move stuff between planets. Mojo, do you remember back in the old days? Back in the very, very old days, where you'd measure your mega base by the fact that you could make one rocket per minute, and that was like a major accomplishment.
It was a major accomplishment because it was the most difficult thing you could do in the game at the time.
Oh, that, and the game would struggle. You need a good PC to get to one rocket per minute.
One rocket a minute was a struggle.
Yeah, you need, things are very well optimized, a lot of production lines. You'd have to have everything set up very, very well to just achieve the amount of production required for one rocket per minute.
I think mine went down to like 38, 35 UPS just to do one rocket a minute.
Oh, yeah, things have changed. Yeah. So the result is now we're going to have 1,000 rockets being sent in the expansion at least. Yep. Rockets there are now are nothing. Cool. We only see guns on the platform. Laser turrets ineffective against asteroids. Each asteroid has different preferred weapon. So that means that Mojo's flamers are definitely a possibility. Laser turrets only effective against small asteroid, and the medium ones need at least a gun. Since energy is quite scarce on the platform, usually a better strategy to just put guns on both small and medium asteroids. Guns for both small and medium asteroids. Also going to be big and huge asteroids on some of the more dangerous routes, and these will need even heavier weapons, so we get new guns.
New guns which are not lasers.
Cannons. Cannon shells are useless.
maybe some kind of rocket turret or cannon turret. People have been talking about some kind of low caliber grenade launcher.
That sounds boring.
Sounds, yeah, overcomplicated, but yeah, cannon is using tank cannon shells seems more plausible.
Yeah, because tank cannon shells are just about useless. They're just, yeah, yeah.
As
Look,
soon as you get big biters, yes, pretty much.
yeah. Oh, look. Your other option is just take the artillery cannon and just aim it forward. Yep. With the cargo bay extenders, can't we just use one big inventory as a teleport? We aren't noobs. Why do you think the cargo wagons can't be placed in space? Only the central hub can be used to access the items with inserters. It can be utilized on small platforms, but can't be abused in a scalable way. So it means that the extra cargo thingies that we can put down, inserters can't grab to and from them,
Ah,
but we could possibly chain them all the way across the space platform if we wanted to for more storage, but inserters can't access them, which means that
interesting.
everything needs to come and go to the middle central hub because we have no storage apart from belt storage. Yeah.
Because that means you can't surround the hub with those things. You actually got to be pretty strategic about it.
Well, they can connect to one another because we
They
have...
can connect to one another.
Yeah. So you can build them off in a straight line off to the middle of nowhere.
It's just that you got to go around it to run items through it.
Yes. Oh, technically go under it. They're only
Yeah,
three,
true.
4 tiles wide. Yeah. So yeah. Why can't space platforms have holes? This is the reason it's driven by gameplay motivation. If we can have holes in the space platform, basically mean you can do a very comfortable, spacious setup and just remove all the unused tiles to reduce the platform weight. We want to push the mini game of building a belt-based mini factory in a limited space, so it seems to be doing its job as intended. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Having gaps
Pretty much what I thought was that no speed holes.
yeah, it makes it just too easy.
Mm.
So, rocket carrier capacity, because this was a question from last Friday Facts as well. How do we even define the capacity? First obvious question, how much can a rocket carry? We surely want to make the transportation from the surface to orbit to be expensive. That means the rocket can only carry a small amount of items, which makes the relative cost of transporting different items quite important. The obvious choice is to set the rocket to carry some fixed amount of stacks. It would be 1, but wouldn't be as feasible because some items are too expensive to transport. Science packs, cheap intermediates, so like circuits and such. That would suck. I'm setting a rocket up for 200 green circuits. 100
Yeah.
gears. Yep.
They're not even that expensive gears.
Yeah. Some items would be too cheap if you could transfer a whole stack in one rocket. Reactors, rail ramps. So rail ramps are going to be unbelievably costly from the looks of that.
Actually, the main talking about reactors. The next point.
Some items would be too heavy to transport as a whole. The idea of transferring a whole rocket solo inside a rocket is too much even for Factorio. Yeah, but I can carry like 60 of them in my pocket.
Yeah, that's been come up on the Reddits.
Yeah. Since we have recycling, we be more efficient. Transfer some resource-dense items like express undergrounds to be recycled into iron at the destination, compared to just setting the iron directly.
That's actually the point that I was thinking of. Like,
Yep.
You just do something that's really, really dense, like a reactor or a rocket silo, and then recycle it at the other end.
Yep, I actually have no problem with that whatsoever. We can also manipulate the stack sizes to get the wanted ratios, but to change the balance of trains versus belts and more. That is a horrible idea. So they added weight. So, weight system. We decided the axiom to be a rocket carry 1,000 kilograms is good, and the balance the rest around it. We started by setting all weight to be 2 kilograms per item. So 500 items equals 10 stacks, can fit in a rocket. And then we created an automated formula to divide the weights of items based on their recipes. Many items also have specific hand-picked weights defined in their prototypes. This created some sort of rough base for testing, and we modified many things a lot. Most non-intermediate utility stuff was cut to be at most 1 stack per rocket. Many things were rounded up. In some cases, we bent things a lot. Science packs are expensive, but they can't be recycled, so we allow 1,000 to fit in a rocket. Modules are expensive, but a whole stack can fit in a rocket because recycling modules is just silly. You say that until somebody does it.
The thing is, I don't know if he's being facetious or not, or if he's trying to give a hint.
Yeah, like a whole stack of modules is an awful lot of. It's an awful lot of blue circuits, red circuits.
It's a lot of circuits in general, but at the same time, it's If anything, modules are weird because they cost more in time than resources.
Yes, and
They're a
also
time expensive item.
potential potential profit from using said modules. Apart from efficiency
Yeah.
modules, they're just useless. Still yet to be proven otherwise. We do have rocket size, we do have power to take into consideration now, but then again, yeah, still to be proven otherwise. They're as far as I'm concerned right now, I'm still baseless. Useless, yes. There are two main ways to fill a rocket, manually and automatically. In manual mode, you can just pick any mix of items you want, as long as they fit in the limit, and press the button to send the rocket to a space platform. And we have, well, a couple of interesting facts with our little picture. So, first off, blue circuits, low-density structures and rocket fuel. We sort of
Yes,
imagined two of those.
confirmed the recipe.
Yep. Also, the rocket part has many little dots.
It's like a full bag of Skittles there.
Yep, that is the any quality. Yes, any quality. So if you put in better blue circuits with crappy everything else, it'll still craft, I assume. Yeah.
So what does a quality rocket silo give you?
Well, it's a any quality rocket part. I don't think that different rocket parts will have different quality amounts, although maybe the fact that it has an any quality means it will, and therefore a legendary
Means
quality.
it has to do something.
Well, a legendary quality part might be worth 150% of a normal part, maybe?
Cheaper to craft or something? Because it's probably not going to change the capacity.
No, it's probably not going to change the capacity, but maybe it'll change the rocket progress percentage. So because it's now 50 items total, I'm imagining that we're going to need one blue circuit, one low density structure, one rocket fuel to have one craft go across, and then it will give us 2% of a rocket progress for one rocket part, being the thingy on the left, which normally you used to need 100 of, but now we only need 50 of because it's, much cheaper. So I'm going to assume that's going to give us 2%. And therefore, if we put in all legendary items and we get a 150% multiplier, then rather than being 2%, it'd be 5% for a legendary part? With productivity on top of that?
No.
Maybe? I don't know.
Don't know. It doesn't seem to really jive with the rest of what quality's meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Strange.
It's one of those, we'll have to wait to find out. But we are
wait.
launching 1 ton. That is TON, which is some weird amount of pounds. It's an imperial measurement, not 1,000 kilograms, just for the record, because I had to look it up and double check.
Ton should be 1,000 kilos.
No, that's TONNE.
Isn't ton the imperial ton?
Oh, they're both pronounced ton. 2,000 pounds. 2,000 pounds. Yep. Mojo's going and looking.
A short ton is 2,000. A long ton is 2,200. Gotta love imperial.
So which one's spelt which way?
So it's a ton.
So TON is imperial or metric?
Imperial. A ton, TON, is imperial.
Okay, so we can launch 980 kilograms or 1 tone. Let's go with tone. Let's just pronounce it very, very differently. Tone. TON. Because
I'm surprised that they got that wrong.
Yeah, I'm surprised I got it wrong too. Although they did change all the spelling in the game to the American standard some years ago.
Yeah, that's true. They did localize it to American.
Yep. So there are two main ways for the rocket, auto and manual, and you can see we're not loading that much on there for a tone. There's not a lot of stuff going to space. We do have a couple of inserters, belts, underground splitters, a couple of decent quality solar panels, 2 of the grabby machines with the tentacle arms, 1 grinder and 7
platforms.
Just 7 platforms. That's not even enough to put an assembler on.
So, something interesting to note from Reddit, player character weighs exactly 1 ton.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
Well, we haven't got to that yet, but yes, maybe, possibly. Or it weighs 0.
No, it's
confirmed by Dev?
1 ton. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll cover that in 1 second. All right. So yes, we have our requests for requests for logics. Yes, Logi platform.
What the space platform
Yep.
is requesting.
Yep. Also, we can tick on the auto launch, and in automatic mode, the rocket silo requests just one type of item based on request from auto platform. By default, it always waits till it has a full rocket's worth before launching, so as not to waste any rocket capacity. For special cases, we added a custom minimum payload to set a lower launch threshold, which might be useful for very expensive low throughput items. So I can definitely see we're going to end up with a situation where we're going to have multiple rocket silos that are designed to fire off like things that you need regularly. So if you build a platform that just does space science, it's just going to need, I don't know, a constant supply of iron and a constant supply of uranium and something else.
Yeah, those space science items.
Yeah, you're going to have it just constantly firing with a couple of dedicated rocket silos. But you are also going to have certain platforms that come and visit and disappear, at which point you're going to have, well, it auto-requesting stuff from space with a different load limit on there. So you might say, okay, well, I'm happy for a rocket to leave at 50% capacity if that's all it happens to have. Or 50% of weight capacity. That's probably more accurate. So, yeah, I don't know. Rocket's not that expensive anymore. I don't think I care. And they did say that previously in a previous Friday Facts. They also didn't bother to mention that we have a new combinator, the new graph combinator. Yeah.
Your favorite Nickelback combinator.
Yes, thanks.
So we have been trying to speculate as to what it is.
Well, it's one of a couple of things. So either my money is if we hooked it into like a belt or something, it would give us an overtime like graph of the items on that belt. Okay, so we could get some sort of automag graphing of items over time on a belt. You said you'd be able to read item parameters. So
yeah, Bilbo started it, and then because I was trying to think of something that is very generic and broad, and all the suggestions that I've seen are very niche or constrained.
Yeah.
And so reading item parameters seems like the way it would be the way to go.
Which now we have the new weight item or weight parameter that's been added to every single item. Yes, along with quality. So you could read the weight of an item, the quality of an item. It's also been suggested the fuel value of an item. I don't know why you'd want to, but possibly it's important.
Again, that's where it starts to fall off the rails because it's very niche and very specific.
Well, I think it would be anything you could hover your mouse over an item and get a stat for. So technically, inserters like have a inserter capacity number and
stats.
Also a rotation speed. So maybe you could have those output with the new magic combinator that does graphing of some sort or reading parameters or something. It's been suggested it could be a memory cell, but memory cells are fairly common in Factorio and they've pretty much been mastered by now.
You can do them with two to three combinators already, and I mean it is specific, but I'm expecting the interface for it to have a drop-down list of a few different functions, like related to what it's doing, and
yeah, the
memory cell is very specific.
Well, the original two are very maths focused, so they very much take in a number, do something with said number, and then output.
Yeah.
And yeah,
or maths and inequality or equality.
Yeah. Well, maths and a function, right? Whereas I can see the new one be a little bit more expandable, a little more available for new players. Because a constant combinator, that's pretty simple. Everybody pretty much gets the concept of that fairly quickly. But then the other two combinators are sort of like jumping in the deep end. So an intermediate combinator that has a bit more friendly for new players.
Yeah. Something that can perform some functions that are related to space platforms.
Yeah.
As well as another one that I saw.
Yeah, like weight, and also, like I said, if you can read the amount of items on a belt per minute, then rather than throwing things off the edge of the platform, maybe you can say, okay, if I've got to a stage if I'm getting 20 iron per minute, please turn on this assembler and this assembler and start producing extra items, which you could technically do with belts and priority splitters and having things back up, which is possible, but maybe a combinator gives you a different option to get to the same end outcome. So yeah, it's one of those wait to see. But we definitely have a future Friday facts,
Oh
about
yes.
freaking combinators. Yes.
Oh, it
Players
even
traveling.
said,
What?
not not to give away the bottom of the FFF, but that's literally what they say. What
Yeah.
Kovarik says.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Launching yourself to space is done with the same rockets as normal cargo. In the GUI, you just choose travel to space and pick your destination platform. Upon arrival, the character will sit safely strapped into the platform hub. However, the weight system implies the player can potentially hold tons of rockets worth of items in their inventory. So for traveling in space, you're only carrying your armor and your guns, nothing else, not even the ammo. So
And that answers the question that keeps coming up. Why don't players just carry tons of stuff? Well, because you can't.
because you
Not
can't,
even ammo.
not even ammo is going to be the horrible one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also to clarify, the reason I believe this was on the forum, why not even ammo is you could just stock up on nukes and carry 30 nukes with you.
That's perfectly valid.
I mean, it's a perfectly valid thing to carry.
Mm-hmm.
Then you don't even need to go, hey, JD, tab space. But yeah, you could just recycle them at the other end.
Thanks. I can definitely see that happening over at Twitch. Somebody's gonna. Yep. I play Factorio tomorrow. Yep. Or technically a couple of hours after this Friday Facts releases. Yep. We're doing an open community map with Halloween themed. There's gonna be a. If a player dies with pressing tab space, a zombie is spawned of the player, who then moves towards the player, just trying to eat their brains. It'll be fun. So you're saying if you
I
click.
forget who that did that to. I know someone who did that to a random.
Oh,
streamer.
it's happened many times.
It's happened many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of them where
Yep.
the long 5 seconds and the explosion goes off.
Yeah, you just pop into a random when they got nukes. Just hey, press space, quick, press space, and then just tap. Oh, yeah, okay. So you're saying travel to space. When you click travel to space, it launches the rocket with you only, and none of the stuff in the current rocket inventory, according to the forums.
Yes, and also, although we sort of explained, and it has been covered and explained already, is that you are locked to the hub. So
Yep,
there's no life support
yep.
and all that crap like there is in SE.
Yep, you're stuck in
the hub
in the
is
White
your
House.
life support.
Yep. So overall logistics, the last non-explained piece of the puzzle is the way items are transported from orbit back to the surface. This is done with the cargo landing pad, which is a special building that can be extended with cargo base, like the space platform hub. More importantly, you can only have one per planet. So the rocket platforms are basically intergalactic trains.
Yes.
Yes. So we can have multiple rockets on the surface where we can load into the space hub platform with multiple rockets. So your loading capacity is very, very high. Your transport capacity from A to B is limited by how well you design your rocket space platform, because they're going to have some sort of movement speed, which is tied to how well it's engineered, which is tied to how much weight it has, which is tied to how much fuel it gets and how quickly it loads that into the engines and fires the thrusters to get to planet B. And then the unloading is limited to technically how fast you can empty the building with the cargo landing pad at the other end. So multi in, one out.
Yes.
Yeah, with a transport time of the space train, which I'm assuming as it's a space train, we can have multiple trains on the same train track going from planet A to planet B. At least I hope so. So, limitation 1 per planet might sound weird, but we just find it fitting because otherwise we tried that is too convenient. Just put them all over the place and have the imported items right where you need them. Yes, this is exactly how people would play it. And late game...
It's exactly what I would do.
Yep, and late game is very nice to have one busy logistic junction in your base. Landing pad has logistic requests, which is satisfied by platforms in space. Inserters pull directly from it, and also works to provide a chest when a logistic network is on the surface. So basically, things land in it, and then inserters can pull out all the robots. So I don't see it being terribly throughput limited. You can always have stuff land in there, get moved very short distance via robots into a request chest, loaded in a train, and shipped halfway across the base.
Yeah, so this is something that did actually come up on, I think, Reddit as well, as people are like, oh, so what about high throughput megabases like 10K? And the response is just that from Kavorex, that throughput limit is actually surprisingly high.
Oh yeah, it would be
You can
massive.
pull items out of this thing very quickly.
Yeah, because it's can access as one giant chest for a whole lot of robots to access.
Yeah.
And in theory, you could add more storage to it as well. Inserters might not be able to access it, but if you want to go super high throughput, then you'd already be moving to bots. And possibly loaders, if we end up with loaders, because we do have loaders on the front of the recycler, but there's no guarantee that they're anywhere else in the game yet.
Well, the recycler, the loader is effectively the same as a mining drill.
Yes. Yes, except mining drill outputs one item, and this outputs
do
all
have
sorts of
legendary quality stack inserters.
This is true. This is true. This is true. Next up we have logistical groups, which is
This is amazing.
There's
two things that are amazing here. The first thing is the group.
There's three. There's three. You're forgetting about the third one. Okay, there's a very important third one which we're going to cover as we read through it. Okay. In a planetary logistics system works like, but playtesting uncovered one critical problem. As it is a recurring theme now, playtesting and iterative improvements are required tool to uncover problems and develop something playable. Correct. Problem we discovered, the system has many points where you request the same set of items, but once you need to update it, it's a chore, at least to chaos. And this problem is not only relevant to space, but having a group of Spidertrons with logistic requests has the same issue, which leads to the annoying task of going through all the requesting entities by one using copy-paste just to miss one in the group and introduce chaos. That's why we developed a solution that solves all these problems and some nice benefits as well, with logistical groups. Solution has three main parts. You can assign a logistical group, logistics request to a named group, and then all the places used in the same group are automatically synced whenever you change something. So, just the first one. The amount of times I played multiplayer often, and we stream that together, and I decided to go outposting. And I need to request in like 1,000 belts with, we've got one here, expansion building, 150 miners, 450 efficiency modules. Somebody's getting a little bit efficiency crazy, but not requesting enough power poles, in my opinion, to actually run that.
Definitely missing the power poles.
Yeah, and I'll come back to base and I'll request all this stuff, and then I'll go out and build 1 or 2 mining outposts, and then I'll have to come back and like clear the requests and dump everything. And now it is a case of you just tick the box, and they'll just turn on that request for the time that you need it, and then untick the box, and you'll stop requesting those items, which is awesome. Also, yes, rail building is another one. You know, you go to hook up the outpost you've just built, and rail building gets requested, and then you request in all the rails. You go build some rails, then come back and your
rail building spider.
Yeah, we'll cover the spiders in just a second. You can have multiple logistic groups on each entity, and you turn on or off individual groups at any time. So this is a big change, an awesome change. I have no idea who's playing this is requesting iron chests. You need to be shot. They're a waste of resources. Just make the steel ones. But that's massive. That's a big change. A big change, and I'm definitely a fan. And who is trying to request 20 of each of the different power armor items at the same time? I have no idea. Yeah. And why
Someone who wants 20 legs, clearly.
Yeah, but where are you going to put 20 fusion reactors? Where? Even under a legendary power armor, it won't fit 20.
I wonder if it's a buffer chest for equipment. Because it's not necessarily so these can be anything that's a requester. Not necessarily personal or Spidertron.
True, because we haven't got to that yet. But yes, you can set up any building to do this. Also, any spider. Final GUI solution is also a result of quite a few iterations. Main goal is to make it reasonably simple to use. If you don't care about groups at all, in that case, you have one unnamed group and use it the same way as 1.1. So they haven't changed any functionality overall. They've just added features, which is
added group the grouping.
Yeah, which is amazing. The fact that you can turn them on and off so quickly is also amazing. But then we have this one, trash unrequested. There was one annoying problem I had with Spidertrons. As I played, I had to add more and more trash requests to all the things they could pick up. For example, wood, stone, ores, basically any kind of mess they encounter when deconstructing. It was around the 10th item to be trashed, I realized there would be always one extra item I forgot about, and what I actually want to do was trash everything that's not requested. At this point, the feature idea was obvious. So this is the perfect point where I point out that playtesting, as Covrex has pointed out, is very, very important, and obviously the devs didn't playtest 1.1.
Yeah, or 1.0 even.
But I don't remember. Spidertrons didn't really do logistics, did they?
No, they gained logistics in 1.1.
Yeah, and in 1.1, this became my #1 gripe with Spidertrons.
Oh, yeah. So I was using Spidertron logistics in 1.0. There was a mod for that.
There was a mod,
So I'd already encountered that in 1.0. But this is the bane of everyone's existence for a long time now.
Yeah. So we added the trash unrequested checkbox, and when enabling anything that isn't explicit requested is put straight to the trash. This also has a secondary benefit that when you change requests of some group, outdated request items don't accumulate in the storage. Okay, yes, it is a massive update, and very, very important. It's also going to come with one small little consequence. But logistics groups and trash unrequested feature. Oh no, hang on. Using the trash unrequested in personal logistics can have a few unexpected consequences at the time. It takes a while to become conscious about it. Happened many times. I crafted a few new items in my inventory and immediately disappeared into the trash slots before I realized what was going on. The robots were happily carrying it away from my reach, but once I got used to it, turn it on or off based on what I was doing, it became one of those things I couldn't play without anymore. Both logistics, trash groups, and trash unrequest features are unified across player, request chests, spidertrons, roboports, rocket silos, space platform hubs, landing pads, and will be available in the 2.0 base game.
Which means non-expansion.
Yes, it means in all Factorio going forth after the DLC is released. The DLC expansion 1.2.2.0 release of the base game. But I've just reread that for the third time, and I've come up with a question. Mojo, your personal opinion. So we have no group assigned in this little picture, which is like your personal request, whatever it happens to be. Now, if you go and put down a blue chest beside an assembly machine, you use the copy and paste function, does that become a new group? Because it's going to automatically request.
So you copy yourself and then paste it onto the.
No, you copy
chest.
from the assembler to copy what assembler requires into a requester chest to make sure that what the assembler needs to make the item that the recipe set to the blue chest. Therefore, it sets up the request automatically to request about a minute's worth. Does that automatically become a new category?
That's an interesting question, because it's not clear if you have to consciously create the group or not, or if it's just automatically created.
Yeah, and then when somebody goes through and sets up a bot mall, especially for some of these modded playthroughs which have 10,000 recipes for different an assembler mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, along with not just a chemical plant, but we have our chemical plants in 5 different varieties and in 5 different levels. So there's a good 25 different types of chemical plants you may or may not require as you play through this playthrough, which means you have a bot mall that it consists of not 30 or 40 assemblers, but it's like, a good 4 screens worth of 200 assemblers plus that make 200 different buildings that you may need in large quantities or small quantities that all potentially are done by a bot network, because let's face it, nobody wants to set that up with belts. What does that mean?
It means that list's going to get very big if it automatically creates a new group.
Very
hang on.
big.
So was this player requester chests, spidertrons, not buffer chests? I suppose it's implied with requester chests.
Yeah,
it's not requester chests.
Yeah.
Oh, unless requester chest has a separate thing where it can be ungrouped. Unless that's what no group assigned is at the top, is that no group assigned means something that isn't on a global group.
I just assume no group assigned is your personal, and therefore everything has a personal. Maybe every blue chest has a no group assigned personal.
The window that we're looking at is effectively the personal logistics.
Yep.
So it would make sense the top is your personal because no group assigned. It's also in square brackets, which implies to me that it's not global.
Okay, so we're going to assume every blue chest has its own version of no group assigned being its own personal request.
Yeah, being its own isolated request.
Okay, sure. This is a massive feature. Also, it clearly points out that Coverex never playtested version 1.1. Because that got annoying real fast.
There are tick boxes. Sorry, just quickly. There are tick boxes, so you can choose which to request.
Well, I assume that's to enable them.
Yeah, to enable them in that request.
Yes.
It's interesting.
They're also standing outside the logistics network because everything's red at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, couldn't even stand inside the Logi network for us. All right, small buttons on top. I'd like to show you my favorite example of a beginner intermediate circuit network usage demonstrate the needed change relating to the logistics groups. So the wall supply station. If you know what's up in Factorio, you probably learned it's not the best idea to spread your logistics network across all of your expansions and defense perimeters. It works. It works.
I mean, there are some people that are committed to the life of the transcontinental bot network.
There's nothing wrong with it. They get there when they get there. It's generally better to have small logistics networks so the robots' deliveries are faster, but you also probably know it's a good idea to set up a way to keep your defensive perimeter in good shape automatically, so biters would eventually grind it down. It becomes even more useful when you need to ensure that your base is able to survive long enough without your physical presence in the space age expansion before having spidertrons or artillery. So it's useful to set up the wall supply system, which is basically a train which delivers all the needed materials to these separated small logistics networks around the defensive perimeters. Just a few combinations needed to make it work really. And this is something that a lot of players have probably set up with
blueprinted because combinators are not the most trivial thing to understand it.
No. Look, it's simple after you go through the process of setting it up once or twice or 53 times because you're playing it with multiple outposts and you forgot to blueprint it, or you blueprint it and it has a train station on it and therefore it can't rotate or flip correctly because the game doesn't allow us to do that. Please have that fixed by version 1.2, 2.0, expansion.dlc. Just small things like that. So you've probably built one or two of them. But this is an automated wall supply, and the cost combinator defines what is needed at the remote outpost, and we subtract what we have from it to get the list of the missing materials. This can be used to control the inserter, unloading from the train, also disable and enable the train station to call when necessary. The problem is everything's nice and easy and doable and vanilla just fine, but the system has a problem related to change. You might decide that you want to add a new item to resupply station or change the item amounts. Yeah, I want lasers. No, we've got lasers. I want guns. The biters have got too big. My power situation sucks. I want guns and I want ammo. As long as you don't want to make a huge whole circuit network, whole map circuit network, all the cost combinators, the one in the main base and the ones per remote station need to be updated manually. No way, we need to automate it. That's unacceptable. So the solution is to have a constant combinator that we can now ask them to select the wall resupply group, and then we can just go in and add our guns, our belt, and our ammo. And every single outpost is going to light up at the same time, needing guns, ammo, and belts. Which is awesome.
Yes.
I have to say it's awesome. Also means that...
the number of times that I've got one of these requesters where one of them's slightly different to the rest.
Yeah, it happens, and you just accept that the next time you go through and update them all, you'll probably get all the missing ones. Or you finally realize that the update you've done in all your wall defenses has all been built, it's all been upgraded, it's all been up and running, and it's all working. And then finally, there's one little bit of the map that's still flashing saying, hey, you never delivered me the guns, so we haven't done any gun stuff for you. Yeah. But also there's
big advantage for me is that I have a self-building outpost system that I use. And so being able to tick and untick these things, so like there's the one which actually supplies all the base materials, the mines and stuff, and it only needs it for construction, so I can turn that off finally, instead of having two combinators and then remotely deconstructing one.
Yeah. The other thing we have is we have a description box. So every single wall supply or solar building or whatever, we can add some descriptors into, which is going to be helpful, I hope. Especially, I don't know, can you blueprint these things? That's going to be a new question. Yeah. I don't know, can I make a blueprint of my requested chest that's ticked for wall supply with all the details for my wall supply that then I give Mojo the blueprint so he can then put down inside his map that's going to automatically request things in my wall supply group? That's going to get interesting.
Do you know there is one travesty?
What?
So because there's auto unrequest, which means auto trash everything you don't necessarily need, it means that you can just run around with that on, and you will never have your inventory filled with pistols and wood again. Yes, that is a travesty. You know what else? It has already been a question on this particular constant combinator.
how many buttons can you have? So you mentioned you have 2 combinators currently, one to build the thing and then one to actually supply the thing, right?
Yes.
So you could add a section and have a second or a third or a fourth or a fifth, or you could have a constant combinator with every single output for every single different logistical setup you may need, and then just tick and untick them. So you could have your blueprint already set up with 2 requests, one for building and then one for actually supplying, and then tick on and off whichever one you need as you need it.
Which you can actually do now because of the remote interaction, which you couldn't do before.
Yes. But yes, as you might have guessed, it's not the last time we're going to talk about circuit stuff, because we have, that little combinator thing that we need an explanation about. Yep. We have things that both make it more approachable and more powerful. So this post starting to get quite long. It will be discussed some other time, which brings us to the end of the Friday Facts.
It does. So another thought that I did have originally was that maybe the combinator, the new magic combinator, it turns all of this logic into a single combinator for the train stop. But I don't know how that would work.
What do you mean? Hang on. What do you mean? A single combinator for the train stop?
So a single combinator that does the logistics deliveries, or request the train or something. So it like says if red wire has something less than green wire, then it outputs L or something, to turn on the train stop or turn on the train request. But that's, again, it's a very specific, very contrived option, so I don't see it as a thing.
Do we have a combinator? So currently combinators compare.
So a decider compares if something's greater than or less than?
No. Decider compares.
Yes.
Whatever's being fed in on either color wire or both colors.
On either color wire, it doesn't discriminate. The combinator currently discriminates on a wire.
Okay. To a item that you've set manually in the combinator and then gives an output.
Or one of the wildcards, which is each, everything, or anything.
Yep. The arithmetic combinator does this exact same. How about the new combinator compares the red wire to the green wire? Because we don't have that as an option.
Is just a straight wire compare. That's potential, but what is the function it performs, though?
I don't know. We've got a long list of drop-down functions already that we can do, but we don't have a situation where you can do something on a red wire versus a green wire situation. Right? The only reason we have 2 colors of wire is it means you can have 2 signals technically existing at the same time without co-mixing. But we don't have any real way of, having the 2 signals interface with one another. I can feed a green signal into a combinator and feed it straight back out and could have that combinator convert it from a green to a red wire, but I don't have a way of interfacing and doing a comparison between, do I have 200 gun turrets in the green wire network compared to the red network, whichever one has the lower amount, go set an output on the red wires or can set an output on the green wire. Yes. But yeah,
it's the reason why I'm hesitant to commit to that is just because it's one function only, and I can see it being a drop-down box, not one function, and I can't think of anything else it could do. It's useful.
All I'm thinking is there's a spot right beside a spider to have a scorpion, and that is where we're going to end the Friday Facts. Because I either want to have a scorpion I can build or a scorpion that I need to fight against, because it's currently not going to be building anything on my space platform.
So before we go, I got 2 more points.
Yep.
Just quick things to add. So the weight of items does not affect trains. That was confirmed by our setting.
True.
So trains with really heavy items do not get heavier. It specifically said that
trains are heavy to start with.
It's not going to add anything of value, and is right.
Yep.
The other thing is, you know how you can have blueprints as items in your inventory?
Oh yes, that was the other one. They're not going to auto trash.
So they will be ignored by auto trash.
Yeah, and I assume decom planners and upgrade planners will fall under the same book.
So all of those items, wires, whatever, will all be ignored.
Well, wires are ignored because wires are a freebie.
Green, white, yeah. Oh, yeah. All the virtual items are ignored.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is where we're going to leave the Friday Facts then. Yes.
And the redo button.
Oh, yes, I've got the redo button. Sorry. Earlier.
360. We missed this.
Yeah, we missed this. Down here in Friday Facts number 380, this little...
380, sorry, not 360.
Yep, this little item down here is the opposite of the undo button. This is the redo button, which is a sorely missed button that we definitely need for a very, very long time, because I've never accidentally pressed Control Z when looking for Control X. and had no idea what I broke.
It just completely undone your entire giant thing that you black painted down.
It's worse than that. It's worse than that. It's just undone something. And I don't know what something is. We could be something as simple as a power pole. It could be I upgraded a whole section. It could be something critical, like I changed a major recipe on something that's chain linked to 5 other things. It could be twisting a belt. I could have contaminated half the bus. I don't know. So now we have a redo button as part of the base game. Because I went and double checked, because I was sure there was one, and turns out there is definitely not. So now we have a redo button as part of the game. But yes, with that
That is it.
That's it. So we're gonna not redo this Friday Facts, and we're gonna see you next week. Next week for more Friday Facts. 383 with definitely I want scorpions. Anyway, that's it. We're up. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye bye.